Hello, welcome to the episode of Motoring Middle East. Today we're checking out the Audi Q7 55 TFSI. And if you're wondering what's different about the Q7 55 TFSI, not a whole lot. Shahzad reviewed this car a few years ago, and this is more of just a quick take to see what Audi's done to bring it up to date for 2020. Not a huge amount. Basically, there's a new front end, a new rear end, there's a new engine, and there's some new interior. So hang on, actually, there's quite a bit they've done. Prices aren't cheap, as you'd expect for Audi's flagship SUV. Prices start around 300,000 dirhams, and this one, as it sits here with all the toys, all the trimmings, and I imagine there's one with even more toys and even more trimmings, is about 350,000 dirhams plus. That's not cheap. So why would you buy this over the Q8? I don't know what happened to my voice back there. It's been all high-pitched all of a sudden. Why would you buy this over the Audi Q8? Well, the answer is pretty simple. The Q8's more stylish and slightly more compromised. This is the more practical family luxury SUV. So, have the updates made it, again with my voice, have the updates made it the choice du jour, the one you have to get? So let's see and find out. So what's different about Q7? Well, if you look, it's got the new Audi front end, so the same grille as before, pretty shiny and chrome, but now you've got the Matrix LED headlamps. I'm assuming these are Matrix LED headlamps. They're very stylish. Same as the Audi A4 that I reviewed recently. And a slightly wider, lower strakes as well on this grille. These obviously feed to, I think, intercoolers. They look at little radiators behind there. Otherwise, pretty much the same car from the side profile. Just a big SUV. Kind of a station wagon, honestly. Not this is a bad thing. I mean, it's a pretty practical car. It tells you what it says on the box. So at the back, again, the new LED style tail lamps that go all the way across, big chrome sort of strip that bisects the rear of the car. Not a whole lot to talk about. I suppose I should open the boot. This is the first time I've actually opened the boot since I've got the car. There's a little bit of space in here, and of course it is a full 7-seater. Right, let's cut the chaff and get straight to the interior. So what's new about the Q7 interior? Well, very cleverly, they've taken all the bits that matter from the Q8. So gone are the old buttons and knobs and switches and the MMI controller. And instead, you've got this lower piano black screen in addition to the normal screen, obviously. All right, I'm going to close the door because I'm baking to death. Start it right up. And check that out. Audi Navigation Plus. I mean, that just means it's got Audi Navigation, which you'll never use because this car has wireless CarPlay. Yes, it does indeed. So the important stuff is down here. If you've gone to my Q8 review, you'll know what to expect. You've got pretty much all your standard controls that were before. Now switches are now a screen. So you've got fan speed adjustability, as he points immediately. This is temperature. This is fan speed. You can just change the speed of the fan because that's what fan speed means. Pretty much all your straightforward modern stuff. Heated seats, again pointing to the wrong thing. This is heated seats, this is cooling seats. And what's these 3 dots here? Oh, okay, that means you can sync everything up here. I'm not quite sure. Oh, hold on. So, oh, go away. So if you sync, you can actually do it with a pinch gesture on the lower display. Cool. All the stuff that matters down here, volume knob, driver assist functions for safety and controlling all the heads up and all things like that. Then you've got a blank space because really a 354,000 dirham car should have a blank space on the dashboard. Parking sensors and so on. So yeah, it's nice, but it collects smudges like crazy, just like it does on the Q8, and it's distracting. You just want to tweak the temperature and you end up taking your eyes off the road because this is such a high-res screen. So I'm not a big fan of these kinds of screens. The main screen, pretty much a straightforward Audi VAG style interior. What is going on here? It always keeps asking me these questions. This is the problem with electronic cars. When they have a fault, they won't shut up about it. Radio, gosh, media, telephone, navigation. The best thing about this, frankly, is that you have, I'll point this out, this is quite high res. Very cool. It has all the stuff stacked away like an Android phone, and if I can find it, it's got wireless CarPlay, but because of course I'm connected to the camera right now, it won't see it. So yeah, pretty much all the straightforward Audi MMI stuff. Otherwise, nice clear dash, No real complaints here. I like how Audi does buttons. Very, very simple. And Land Rover, for example, could learn a lot about this. You've got very, very simple system here. You've got volume control and you've got track up and track down. No need to put your fingers all over the place like you're doing some sort of lambada. Over here, you've got the view, which changes to small, big, small, big. I'm going mad. And of course, down here is controlling all of your various functions and scrolling through them. And you can click on them for OK, etc. Now, what does this do? Oh, reduce display. What does reduce display mean? Oh, no display at all. I quite like that. Yeah. Here's the problem. Oh, and it scrolls obviously fore and aft through the stuff. This is so good. I don't know why everybody hasn't copied it. Virtual Cockpit I was pretty skeptical about a few years ago, but honestly, it's so easy and so intuitive and so quick. Everybody's trying to copy it without copying it, but the way that Audi does it is so simple with these buttons, and it's so intuitive that everybody end up just makes it more complicated. Other than that, pretty straightforward car. The seats are no S-line big balls, so I think just pretty comfortable seats. What have you got down the center? Wireless charging cradle, it's quite handy too. USBs, SD port, and a SIM card. The car comes with a SIM card. It does come with a SIM card. It says Audi 1. I'm not sure that it's supposed to give some of the SIM card that I'm supposed to take out, but hey ho, maybe I just broken the car. Oh, maybe that's it. Now that'll work properly. All right, let's get it out on the road, shall we? And we're not going dune bashing because this car isn't insured for dune bashing, so I'm just pointing at a bit of desert, sort of trying to set the mood. So what can I say about the Audi Q7 that hasn't been said before? Well, the problem is not a lot has been said about the Q7. It's just kind of there. It's that big luxury SUV that's there at the top of Audi's range. Now, full confession, in the late 90s, early 2000s when the first gen Q7 came out, I really liked that car. I thought it was pretty good. It was a beautiful car to look at. The interior quality was something we'd never seen before. So it's so like the clappers in the UAE. Just a lovely, lovely car. However, now everybody's kind of caught up with it. And this is the current gen Q7. It's always left me feeling a little bit meh. It just looks like a big slab of German beef. The Q8's nice. Q8 is nice. I would have the Q8 if I had to buy one of these things. I mean, the difference in cargo capacity is minimal at best, and it just feels a lot more dynamically set up. And that's what really annoys me about this car. It's like they've held back just so you buy the Q8 if you want dynamics. Like, this car just feels so stodgy because they know they can do better in the Q8. And that's another problem as well. Dr. Piek, rest in peace. The problem is when you have cars that are all built on the same platform, different sizes of sausage, you end up in a situation where they all feel the same. All the engineers are like, well, that's good enough for the B, C segment or whatever. Who cares? Nobody goes beyond the limit. Nobody goes and tries harder than they should. And makes me wonder, why am I trying harder? Why am I going above and beyond trying to make this car sound more interesting? Because it isn't. So let me just fill you on the basics. If I sound tired, it's because I'm tired of trying to make cars like this interesting. Because they're not. They're big and they're expensive and they have all the toys and they're fine. Probably won't break, and even if they do, they got a warranty, so you don't care. And they're all very expensive. 350,000 dirhams. I mean, the person who buys this car is going to buy it because he wants those 4 rings on it. And I'm not slacking Audi here. I'm not knocking them at all. The problem is, this applies to all of them, whether it's Mercedes or BMW. Mercedes in particular, their cars are like Russian nightclubs on wheels now. They went from being these really tasteful, elegant interiors to being like all singing, all dancing monstrosities. BMW are fine. They're kind of what Mercedes used to be, except they're these weird bloody dashers which with like things that go up like this, the revs. You can't understand it, so you just go back to like numerals. But they're basically comfortable AMGs. They all want to be comfortable AMGs, and they're not dynamically superior anymore. The Audi just sort of neatly cuts the line. It's dynamic enough, it's powerful enough, but it's not as bizarrely crazy as Mercedes. But it's not as boring as BMW. So I'm trying to find things to say about this car, but what can you say about a car that has been focus grouped to death, PR to death, basically set up to be everything to all people and beyond criticism? The point of these cars is that you can't criticize them because they do everything reasonably well. So it has some off-road ability. That's the one thing I can criticize it for. It doesn't have any off-road ability. I'm not going to drive it off-road because it's not insured for it, but nothing about this car I took it briefly into a little bit of sand patch. I'm going the wrong way down here because it's covered up by sand and it's not insured for off-road and there's nobody here. Honestly, it is the least likely sand car you'll ever drive, so it doesn't want to do it. It's more of an all-weather car for, German winters. I hit a sand patch, immediately the traction control fires. But it's fine. Steering is okay. Right now it is in comfort. Probably the more that you should just leave it in, really. Ride is good on these 20-inch wheels. Continental tires grip pretty well. So what's the new engine like? Well, before it used to be a 340 something horsepower supercharged V6. Now it's a 345, I guess. Pretty negligible difference. 345 horsepower turbo V6. Same great 8-speed automatic as before. Nothing has changed. So what's different going from supercharger to turbocharger? Well, confession time. Didn't much like the supercharged V6. And to be honest, don't really like the turbocharged V6. Weirdly, it's actually worse on fuel economy than the old one. Full power. It's quick enough. They say this is like a 5 to 6 second car to 100 kilometers per hour. 5-6 seconds is pretty good. Fast enough. But there's a big caveat. The caveat is the weather should be perfect. Yesterday it was about 40-45 degrees in choking traffic. It kind of doesn't like the heat, like all turbocharged cars, whether it's a Raptor or this. So again, not a specific knock on Audi, but none of them like this kind of heat. Yeah, all these turbocharged cars or supercharged cars, superchargers do a little better, but all of them kind of suffer in the heat. I think it's pretty hot out there. The humidity just chokes the engine, so you don't get that same oomph and off the line. Same goes for the AC performance. Unfortunately, the AC okay in this car, but if you've been sitting outside for a couple of hours, oof, it's gonna struggle. Lots of leather and metal. I mean, it's not really Audi's fault. You want a nice cabin, it's gonna be slightly harder to cool. So yeah, perfectly fine, nothing to complain. But it isn't great dynamically. Like, okay, let me put it into dynamic mode now. That also changes the engine and gearbox, etc. Blah blah blah. Let's turn into a corner, high speed 100-kilometer corner. Lots of body roll. Braking, fine. I mean, that's like a 30% brake stop, but it's fine. What this car isn't designed to do is crush the Nürburgring. I'm sure there's like SQ7 or something, or there's RSQ8 if you want basically an Urus and an Audi Frock. But what this car is designed to do is be comfortable. And if I put it, get out of dynamic. This is not a dynamic car. Basically, if you want a comfortable daily cruiser that can carry all of your kids' stuff, little Myrna, little Jethro, all of them going to some school in branches, yeah, this is fine. This is a good car. Nobody will be upset with your choice. It's even in boring grey, so you won't stand out with any crazy lime green or orange colors or God knows anything that might raise your heart rate a little bit. It is just fine. If you want a German car and you really don't want those Japanese SUVs because they're too reliable and too off-road capable and just different and Japanese, then this is the car for you. I'll still look at the BMW X7, which is a lot more expensive, or the X5. I like those cars. I like the X5 more because it drives a little better, and it's got slightly better ride. This is good. Audi does a good ride, but the BMW ride is a little bit more cushy. I haven't driven a Mercedes in a long time, and frankly I don't care to, because who cares. Porsche's Cayenne is also pretty much the same. By the way, this pretty much is a Porsche Cayenne, so yay if you want a Cayenne badge for a lot cheaper. So if I sound grumpy, it's again like I said before, I'm trying to find things to say about these cars, but the honest reality is I haven't driven it that much compared to my normal test routine. I've had it for 5 days or thereabouts, and it's just not inspiring. You don't wake up in the morning and drive this car. It's just there in your life, like a wife that you didn't want to marry and kids that you didn't want to have. It's just there in the car, in your car park. Nothing wrong with it, perfectly fine. But I can't say I'm enthused about it. But let me talk about cars that I was enthused about driving recently. Yeah, it does the corners fine. Mazda CX-5, I was not enthused about that car, but I drove it. Had just such a lovely, delicate feel to it. It just bombs through corners. Nowhere near the power of this engine. Not even 200 horsepower. But it rode just as good. It handled better. The AC was good. Stereo sounded better, honestly. I mean, this has got a Bose system, but yeah, Mazda sounded better. Which is heresy, I know, but sorry, it's the truth. What else is good? Oh, Defender. If you're spending 300,000 dirhams on a car, just go buy the Defender. Yeah, I know you don't like the way it looks. I don't care. It just drives nice. It's got a lovely, lovely, beautiful, supple ride, and it just beautifully carves through corners. It's also got 3-litre inline 6, but feels way more muscular than this one. I mean, this is fine. This is absolutely fine, but that car was better and cheaper and came with the same amount of toys and with the same amount of space. But crucially for me, it had off-road ability. It could go places. Okay, it's not a Land Rover in the classical sense of we're going to cross the Kalahari, but it's fine. It was absolutely fine. It was just a car I look forward to getting behind the wheel again when I get the keys to the test vehicle. This one, like all Audis lately, is just a little bit anodyne and a little bit dull. And that's by design. I know these German engineers can do better. So why aren't they? On that slightly down note, thanks for watching. This is Imthishan, Motoring Middle East. Like, comment, share and subscribe. I'll probably get another Audi, never get another Audi again, but hey ho, such is life. Thanks for watching.